Here's a truth that might shock you. One of America's most progressive cities is facing a crisis so severe that residents are finding human waste in their own living rooms. But here's where it gets controversial. Despite years of meetings and millions in spending, Boston's Mass and Cass intersection continues to be a nightmare that's now spreading far beyond its original boundaries. Last Thursday evening, 130 frustrated residents packed a Boston City Council meeting to share stories that would make your blood boil. These aren't just statistics or headlines. These are real families whose daily lives have become a horror show thanks to the drug crisis at the intersection of Melnea Cass Boulevard and Massachusetts Avenue. Take Ryan Rogers Hammond, for instance. She's not your typical complainer. She's a married mother of two with a PhD in biomedical science living in the South End. Picture this. You're having a peaceful breakfast with your children when you hear footsteps upstairs. A stranger has broken into your home and defecated in your living room. The intruder wasn't just some harmless vagrant either. He had 2 open warrants for violent crimes and was carrying a long pointed stick and bungee cord. What exactly was he planning to do with those items? That's the question that should keep every parent awake at night. And this is the part most people miss. It's not just about one isolated incident. Rogers Hammond explained that human feces has become a regular fixture throughout the neighborhood. It's on our sidewalks and our playgrounds, and in my case, my home, she testified. When a PhD scientist is forced to discuss fecal matter as a daily concern in her affluent neighborhood, you know the system has completely broken down. But here's where the story gets even more heartbreaking. Nivea Pina and her husband have poured their hearts and savings into their Cuban restaurant, Donna Habana, right at the Mass and Cass intersection. After 9 grueling years of fighting drug activity and crime, they're throwing in the towel. Pina didn't just lose her business dreams. She depleted her entire 401k trying to keep the doors open. We are not asking for money. We are not asking for anything. We are just asking the city to think outside of the box and stop these meetings, she pleaded with council members. Think about that for a moment. A small business owner is literally begging city officials to stop having meetings and start taking real action. How many more families need to lose everything before someone in power decides enough is enough? Emily Schlier's testimony reveals just how normalized this chaos has become. Her 4-year-old son can't leave their front door without stepping over either a person, a needle, or human waste. Let that sink in. This is a preschooler's daily reality in one of Boston's historically upscale neighborhoods. But the most infuriating part of Schlier's story happened while she was on vacation in July. A woman broke into her home, slept in her bed for multiple days, and stole over $10,000 worth of belongings. The kicker: the burglar was back on the streets within a week of being arrested. We're being told that it's getting safer, but what I see is an administration trying to redefine what safety means, Schlier told the council. This raises a controversial question that city officials don't want to address. Are we witnessing a deliberate attempt to gaslight residents into accepting unacceptable conditions as the new normal? Here's what's really controversial about this entire situation. Boston City Councilor Ed Flynn proposed declaring the drug crisis at Mass and Cass a public health emergency last month. This seems like common sense, right? Wrong. Boston's health commissioner actually pushed back against this idea. Let me get this straight. Residents are finding human waste in their homes. Children can't safely walk to school, and small businesses are closing permanently. But declaring a public health emergency is somehow too extreme? The most telling detail from the entire evening might be who wasn't there. Mayor Michelle Wu, who's supposed to be leading the city through this crisis, was notably absent from the meeting. However, her opponent in the upcoming re-election race, Josh Kraft, was present, though he chose not to speak. This begs the question: is Wu avoiding these meetings because she has no real solutions to offer, or because she's afraid of facing the justified anger of her constituents? Residents at the meeting proposed solutions ranging from increased arrests to expanded long-term treatment programs. City councilors promised to discuss these suggestions and hold another meeting to announce potential policy changes. But here's what residents are really thinking. How many more meetings will it take before someone admits that the current approach has failed spectacularly? The harsh reality that nobody in City Hall wants to acknowledge is that the mass and caste crisis is no longer contained to one intersection. It's metastasizing throughout the South End and beyond, turning family neighborhoods into zones where parents fear for their children's safety and small business owners lose their life savings. So here's my controversial take. Maybe it's time to stop coddling failed policies and start prioritizing the safety and well-being of law-abiding residents and business owners. Maybe declaring a public health emergency isn't too extreme when 4-year-olds are navigating human waste and drug paraphernalia just to leave their homes. What do you think? Are Boston officials doing enough to address this crisis, or are they more concerned with appearing progressive than actually protecting their constituents? Should residents have to tolerate this level of chaos in the name of compassion, or is it time for tough love and real accountability? Share your thoughts, and don't hold back if you disagree with the city's current approach.